All right, welcome everyone to MSR Houston ChampCar.live. It's a 7-7 out in Angleton, Texas, and we're just a few minutes away from getting started out here for this 7-hour race today, and then they'll wrap it up and do another 7-hour race tomorrow. And Doc Waldrop's with me this morning. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great, sir. Top of the morning to you. They're getting ready to start. It's even more of the top of the morning for these guys. They're going green at 7:30 in the morning out there, and then they're going to checker at 2:30 in the afternoon. So, an interesting schedule. I don't envy it. I'm perfectly good with starting races at 9 o'clock.
Hopefully moving here will help a bit.
Yeah.
But we're on board with a team called Shots Fired Racing. And this is the only working camera that I'm aware of so far. So for those of you who are watching with us, if you know of other cameras that are up and running out there, let us know. We'll be sure and bring those in to our down and dirty broadcast of the MSR race out there in Angleton. This is a BMW 323i, number 141 car. And it sounds like they're all set. They just gave a 3-minute warning that they were getting ready to roll the cars out onto the grid. So it's not going to be long before they do that. And this car has one of the center nets installed in it, along with rather smart-looking monitor screen they have there. So they're rolling out. Looks like they still have much of the factory dash still left in the car, too. So, Doc, we've got a decent little field of cars here. What do we know?
Well, I'm getting double audio on this, so. But, so we've got several new teams that are out with us today. That's Benihana Racing, Birdman Racing, Egg Boy Racing, Rookie Racing, and Snakebite Racing. Those are all new teams as far as I can tell, or haven't raced with us since 2017. We got Blue Line Racing out there, and there's Chevy Camaro. That's a veteran team, but they've been actually getting some poor finishes. We got City Garage Racing. They've been with us for quite some time now. That's an EC class car. They had a 3rd and 5th at Harris Hill earlier this year, but we got Cross Canyon Racing. That's a Nissan 240 SX. They're a veteran team. Again, not so great finishes lately. So we got the Haas Garage team, mid-teen finishes at Harris Hill. So in 2017 and 2018. We got Kentucky Fried Racing and their BMW. That's a 328 IS. They were a veteran team with some so-so finishes. Again, that's an EC class car. We've got 2 entries from 9-4 Motorsports. We've got their Toyota Supra and their Lexus SC300. I think they're a strong favorite for this race. They're being supported by Low Tide Motorsports, and it's a veteran teams, veteran drivers. Also got PMF Racing. That's a Ford Mustang. It's a D-class car. It's a pretty much veteran team. They're just bordering on some top 10 finishes. We've got Pure Black Racing. That's an Audi A4, another veteran team, and they're also hunting for some top 10s. We also got Shots Fired Racing. That's who we're on board with in that BMW 323i. They've got some top 10 finishes here lately at Harris Hill, including a 4. So. And last one we're going to talk about is Texas Thunder in their Miata. They've got some top 10 finishes at Harris Hill, so I look for them to do well as well.
Yeah, there's a Honda Prelude out here. Of course, the Lexus SC300 that you spoke of earlier with 9-4 Motorsports. A 97 Audi A4 Quattro. Got a Chevy Camaro, a Mustang, an MR2. I'm not sure I can pronounce that without hurting myself. Benihana Racing.
Benihana.
Yeah. Yep. So we got, and another A4 two A4s in the race, Pure Black Racing and Snakebite, as you mentioned earlier. So interesting field. Yeah, no Saturns. Who would have thunk? We need to get some Saturns in this race. But yeah, this track, it looks like we're running the no. We're running the clockwise configuration. This track is running both directions. So trying to get a feel for what we're doing. A lot of the track maps have it anti-clockwise, which is what we're running in Utah as well. So I thought it was going to be a rather unique weekend if we were running both anti-clockwise, but I think we're running this track in clockwise direction. So good morning, Crash Management. You're welcome for the stream. We appreciate you guys. Thanks, Alan. And yeah, this is a fast little racetrack, 2.3 miles roughly in length. And you can see the driver giving a thumbs up to some of the corner workers as he goes by. Interesting racetrack. A little bit longer than Nelson Ledges, where we were just some weeks ago. It's a very nice, smart-looking carousel. I like how it has like a flat spot at the top there for you to get a good run in through 17. There's some curbing down there as you come through that exit onto the front straightaway, so it's not quite as clean as it looks there. You do have to kind of watch it, but I like this little track. I kind of would like to go out there sometime. Looks like a fun track. So getting ready to go green here at 7:30 a.m. local time. 8:30 right now out here out east. And we're going to follow along as long as this camera stays live. Boy, he's got a fantastic panel there for his lap timer. Running that big tablet he's got there on the dash. That's nice. We had something similar to that in with the Premium Dudes machine. I was privileged to race with them a couple of weeks ago, and it was just I think it was just a smartphone. That worked all right for me, and I'm blind anyway. I don't know if I need a big tablet like that, but that's nice. Very easy to see. And the quicker it is to see and recognize, the less time you have to spend looking at it, waiting for your eyes to focus and train in on what you want to see. So that's cool. So Son of Andre, excuse me, that's that's in Utah. Shots Fired Racing, there we go. In their 323i.
We'll be out of Utah soon enough.
Yes, we will. I'll get some text up here. Again, this is going to be kind of a down and dirty broadcast. We just don't have the prep time for both of these. But we'll get it sorted out. They should be going green here shortly. And that'll kick off 7 hours of racing out there in Houston. Weather's fantastic out there. As you can see, skies are clear.
Yeah, the biggest thing there is it's going to get hot, and I think that's why they started a little early.
Well, that could explain it.
Yeah, I lived in Houston for a while. The track is a little south of Houston, off to the west a bit, but mostly it's due south, and it can get miserable in the summer. I mean, when you wake up in the morning and it's already 95 degrees at like 7:30 in the morning, that's just too freaking hot.
I could go along with that. I think it's 3:30 our time. 2:30 local time out there. Well, Jeff, that's a good question, asking about the elevation. Will that be a factor? I think that lower air density is going to have an effect on power, absolutely. you're going to rely on, the mass airflow sensor, all the sensors in the car to pick up how much air is coming in and adjust fuel ratio. But a lot of guys aren't running O2 sensors, so that could affect the drivability of the car. It'll certainly affect fuel mileage. So we'll have to see how that affects things. But certainly, if it was carbureted, it would make a big difference. But yeah, these guys that run these races, most of them, some of them are new with us, but I'm sure they're adjusted to the climate, so they kind of know what to expect out here. So out here with Shots Fired Racing, just getting started, and the driver just starting to get this machine up to speed. There you see the timing and scoring pylon, courtesy of Race Monitor. It looks like 9.4 Motorsports shown as the overall leader so far in the 840 car. That would be the Lexus Coupe, which has just been repainted to that red, white, and blue American flag livery. And driving right into the sun first thing this morning. So just came by one of the straights. This has 2 straights on it and a carousel linking the 2 in between. And we'll try to get a little bit of a feel as to where he is. And then pick up, see where they're at. So there's a timer running on the dashboard. Should be coming across the start-finish line here shortly. Is at 2 minutes. Looks like that must be the predictive timing, because I see it fluctuating. Coming through the S's there. So Snakebite racing down and now in P2. We're on board with Shots Fired in P3 as I just get passed by one of the other BMWs that's out here this weekend. Shown they just go by the start-finish line. So down the front straightaway. I believe this is going around the carousel here, so that means they are running in an anti-clockwise position. This should take them down the next front straight. It should kick to the right and then bend around to the left. It's a very fast right-hander here. And then this is breaking down into what would be turn 5, Diamond's Edge. It's sort of a double apex. You pick up there's a flat spot, and then you pick up 5. He's going to roll through 6 here. This is a very fast left-hander. Taking him onto the back straight. Right into the sun there. Turn 7 also quick. Now slowing down for 8. This is a tight right-hander. Up to the keyhole here. Through turn 11. You can hear the tires protesting as he heads to 12. He'll kick to the right and then back to the left through launch. I think the clock readout is showing a predictive lap timing, but because it's sort of hovering around that 4:01, but it's it's not working off of. This is on his second lap, so it's up to 4 minutes. So I don't think it's quite set up properly. It's picking up the where its trigger point is.
.54s. Everybody else is doing mid 156s.
Well, if you're just joining us, everybody, thanks for joining us. Paul Veltum along with Doc Waldrop out here at MSR Houston.
Can you
just
hear
got
me,
started
Paul?
here. Yes, I can.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think I had our broadcast mic muted for some reason. That got muted. So apologize for that, folks. We've been talking along, having a great time, talking to nobody. But yeah, 94 Motorsports is on up front. We're on board with Shots Fired Racing in their BMW 323i out here at MSR Houston, which is Motorsports Resort. And it used to be one of those exclusive clubs, like so many of these racetracks that end up becoming open to the public, the general public. And we're just out here enjoying this race. This is running the clockwise configuration this weekend. It's a double 7, as Doc explained earlier, probably due to the heat. They started the race very early this morning, 7:30 local time. We're going to go to 2:30 local time and checker it.
I don't know
Shots.
much about the MSR track. We've been there, I think, according to my records, just one time before, down at back in 2016.
Yeah, there's a look at the racetrack. Shots Fired is now dropped down to 10th to 7th spot, but they're just getting started. Just 4 laps under their belt here. Just getting acclimated with the track and getting into that groove. The leader's up in under 2 minutes right now, running 156s.
Yeah,
A couple 153s from Egg Boy and 94 Motorsports, huh?
Showing Benihana, Kentucky Fried Racing, and Rookie Racing not turning any laps. So 3 cars, I think, missed the start this morning.
Yeah, as far as we know, this is the only working camera at the track. And being as there weren't too many cars that started the race, that's probably true.
Yeah, I asked the 9.4 guys. They weren't going to run a camera.
So we're going to kind of stick around and cover this race as best we can with the minimal information that we get for about 2.5 hours or so. And then we'll break away for a while and set up for the Utah race, which starts at 10 o'clock Mountain Time, noon Eastern Standard. But we'll keep an eye on this race throughout the day
And
into tomorrow. Well, yeah, tonight they won't be running, but we will be, because the Utah race is a 24-hour race.
And then we got to do it 2 weeks from now. At VIR.
Yeah, we'll be at VIR, yeah.
I meant to check on that. Let me go peruse something very quickly. 94
Motorsports in the 840, that 92 Lexus Coupe still dropping their lap times. Just turned a 1:56, their fastest lap time on lap 5.
Excuse me.
It looks like their Toyota though is the car to beat. Putting down 153s. Already turned a 152.9 this morning.
So for the VIR 24 race, 93 teams signed up. So if you're going to make that race, you better sign up quick.
Oh, yeah.
It is going to be limited to 100 cars. It always sells out. So there's 7 spots left.
Yeah, thanks for the info there, Doc. Ah, cool, Rob. Oh, where are we racing? This is at MSR Houston. I meant to do that. I'm gonna put up a text so that everybody knows where we're at. There we go.
It's not Houston, it's Houston.
What am I doing?
Oh.
There's an O in there.
At the end. There's also one at the beginning, silly person.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's much better.
Okay. No, yeah, you're welcome, Rob. We should probably tell people where we're racing. Here's the thing. Not everybody watches us from end to end, so we're used to being here, and I have to say things 30 times over, and that's still not enough because, you know, people just, they chime in, they take a look, and then they back out, which I can't blame them.
They can only put up with us for so long.
You mean some people have a life?
Well, they have very low thresholds of pain.
So, yeah, if you're just joining us, we're out here at Motorsports Resort Houston, as they call it, in Angleton, Texas. And just getting started. They went green here at 7:30 local time, which was just about 15 minutes ago. So they've got about 6 laps in. 9-4 Motorsports is out front right now.
Yeah, they had a little contest going on over on their Facebook page to guess how many laps the combined both cars would do this weekend. So they're going to give away a little bit of swag to whoever gets closest. I put in my educated guess. I think I put them in at 720 laps total.
Now they got this.
670.
They have this labeled as the Twilight Grand Prix. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because they're starting so early. They call it that. Whoa, a little bit of protest from those tires early this morning on board the BMW. 9-4 Motorsports out about 0.05 of a second over Egg Boy. It's close up front with the other 9-4 Motorsports car gaining quickly in P3 with a 151, their fastest lap time so far in that Toyota Supra. Do a quick grab here. There we have it. From racehero.io. Again, you can go to racehero.io if you want to follow along with your favorite team in style. That's where we get our information from. There you can see there's the gaps listed, so you can see the distance between P1 and P2 so far. And this purple box represents the fastest lap time of the day for the field. So that tells us 151 is the fastest lap time term so far. And again, you can pick that up at racehero.io. On board now with a team called Shots Fired Racing in their 99 323i. Started out the race towards the front around P3, dropped to P7. Their lap times are now falling. They've gotten underneath the 2-minute lap time mark out here on this 2.3 mile road course.
All right, so we might as well get in on this right away. We show Egg Boy Racing leading. Now, that's an EC class car. Another one in the race is City Garage Racing. They're also an EC class cars. Those cars are not eligible for the overall win, simply because they're running a little bit outside our rule set. We created that class for those kind of cars, want to come in, dip their feet in Champ Car Racing and that sort of thing. So they're generally over we have a 500-point limit, after which you either take penalty laps and or if you're a lot over, they move you up into EC class if you're a lot of points over. But I don't know the specifics on either one of those cars, why they're EC class, but chances are they're running a little bit, like I said, outside our rule set.
Yeah, the Egg Boy is a 328i. And the other car, City Garage Racing.
That's a 325 IS.
It's a 325 IS. So
those BMWs.
Well, it doesn't take much to get you over the limit.
No.
It could be
325 IS. You start with 450 points right there. So
yeah, if you want to do just about anything, I mean, once you change the radiator to go to aluminum, if you put solid mounts in, now you're getting to the point where you can't really do much. So if they added any kind of aero, if they upgraded their transmission to a 6-speed, just about anything is going to put them over into EC. Certainly if they went with a different engine, if they moved up into like an M3 power plant, like an S motor. So we're running the clockwise configuration out here at MSR. And our broadcast will continue later this morning to pick up the Utah race.
Flag-to-flag coverage.
Yes. We shall not shirk our responsibilities there.
Wait, whoa. Speak for yourself there, bud. I can only handle this chair for so long. I might be pacing later.
Oh, got a little crossed up there. This track does have some rather peculiar corners to it. And as I'm watching this driver try to figure this out, you look at the track map, and if you look at the bus stop section right down here, that seems to be the area where he's getting the most crossed up with it. And it seems to be a really bizarre feel as he goes into that corner. I'm just not quite sure how to handle that, how to negotiate that yet. Of course, the tendency with bus stops is to go in too slow and try to progress through it too quickly. Most bus stop chicanes, the throwaway is the first segment. You want to have the car set up so that midway through the bus stop, you're going back to power and you're coming out strong. But if you get a little too greedy on the way in, yeah. Well, its tendency is to get a little too greedy on the way in. Now, then if you're at Mid-Ohio, you actually want to be greedy on the way in, and the throwaway is the left-hander. Reverse skate. Yeah, this track, they run both directions. And it looks to me like, and I'm not familiar with the racetrack as many of you are who are watching today, but it looks to me like they're running in a clockwise direction as I've been following along with this driver today. Yeah, Andy, same with WGI. You're right. It's a smoker on the way in, but it's all important to get out strong. So yeah, it's an early morning out there in Texas. They went green at 7:30 a.m. The driver's meeting was at 6:30, bright and early. But as Doc alluded to earlier, most likely it's because of the heat. Doc lived there for a time and explained how hot it can be. It can be in the 90s, the mid-90s, just waking up in the morning. So.
Oh, yeah, and the humidity, I mean, they're right near the Gulf. It's brutal.
No one really wants to be cooped up in a race car at 2 o'clock in the afternoon in Texas this time of year. So.
Well, I hope everybody has a cool shirt system. Of course, Utah's not going to be a walk in the park either.
No, we've heard from Bill it's pretty hot up there too. So
at least it's. I know,
here it comes.
It's the dry heat.
There it is, dry heat.
You knew it was coming. But I'm sorry, I don't like to feel like a pizza, and plus I require water in my air. I got to go out to Vegas in Thanksgiving for a little bit over a week, and I'm dreading it already because my sinuses dry out. I just feel miserable.
Yeah, sucks the humidity, sucks the moisture right out of your body, and doesn't take much. Between the heat and the lack of moisture in the air, it's easy to get dehydrated.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Somebody pointed out that when you're sweating, the sweat evaporates immediately, so you don't notice it as much. So, morning, Alon. How are you doing, buddy?
It's watching our in-car camera with shots fired as they dance around this racetrack. That sun's still on the horizon there. They started very early this morning, trying to get into the groove, and he's got this car set up a little bit loose, which is kind of nice under braking. The car rotates quite a bit. Little tire, a little bit of wheel spin there as he goes back to power coming through that corner. His upshifts are relatively low rev, it sounds like. Eating a lot of curb. 1238 M was 110. Yeah, Coda can be just brutal. Putting a pass on one of the back markers. That sun right in your eyes as he goes into the braking zone. Going around what looks like maybe the carousel. A little kick to the right, and then it's a tight left-hander turn 4 here. It takes him up into 5. And round 6. Down the back straight he goes. Then there's a sweeper to the left, it's just 7, and then here comes the bus stop, turn 8. And I think he may have seen a yellow flag there. He went to power and then backed out of it, working his way around the Camaro.
I just think he didn't know what that car he just passed was going to do.
Could be. That's a spot where I think he's been having trouble going through the bus stop there.
Yeah, so why push it?
Coming out of the keyhole into the launch. Through gut check here. Still showing full course green, but really taking it easy through here. This will take him back onto the pit straight. Has no problems dispensing with that BMW. It's Shots Fired Racing, currently in P7 in their 99 323i. I like the position of his pull handle for the fire extinguisher and the start button. They're all pretty close there. But it's not really in the sleeve zone, which is good. I try to set up my pulls so they have about a 5-pound resistance. So if you catch it with your sleeve, you're less likely to trigger it by mistake. It's got an outside mirror, 2 outside mirrors on the passenger side. It's got the one of the Longacre style dot mirrors, that convex mirror. Really sliding the back end of that car through the corners. I'd like to drive this car. This is...
You don't want to drive any car.
Yeah, I guess I do. I like a car that rotates nicely. That's fun.
I agree.
Cars that don't turn are just... I find it frustrating. So Shots Fired Racing, their quickest lap time, a 157.8 so far. Coming real easy through here in low gear. Back onto the pit straight, it looks like. So about a 2.23 mile road course. Almost 2.25 mile. Very bumpy through this section. Look at the way the car gets upset going through there.
Yeah, he was sawing at that wheel.
So pretty challenging. Spoke with Bill a little bit yesterday. He's exhausted and wondering why he decided to race and broadcast at the same time. I tried to tell him we don't need to do that, but he wanted to do it.
Well, none of us are very good at making rational decisions, Paulie, when it comes right down to it.
Exactly. Well, he's asking the question why, and I'm thinking, I don't need to answer that. You know
why?
We're out of our mind.
You're an idiot. Same as us.
Suffering loves company.
Yes, it does.
(9-4) Motorsports now up front by about 1.5 seconds, so they're just gradually breaking away. P1 and P2. They've swapped positions, though.
Yeah, Egg Boy Racing, the team that was in the lead, that's that EC class BMW. They've dropped all the way down to 13th, so obviously they've got some problems.
So the Supra has taken over the lead of the race. The car that did so well at NCM earlier this year and almost won that race, chasing down the leader. Ran out of fuel in the closing lap of the race.
On the last lap, yeah. Right in view of the tower where we were.
And from what we could see, the way those lap times dropped in the closing 5 laps of the race, they were holding back, trying to make it on fuel, and just let it off the leash.
Yeah.
They certainly had they certainly had enough car to overtake the leader, but they just didn't have the fuel worked out and ran out of gas on the last lap, succumbing to RVA Graphics and Wraps, who won the 2018 championship. That was a pretty exciting race. So if you're just joining us, we're at MSR Houston.
I just somebody was asking. I think it was on our Facebook page, on the Champ Car Endurance Series Facebook page. Said, "What's going to be the point structure of the national championship this next year?" And it's like I said, I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing we keep it the same because we only have so many fingers we can count on.
Good one. We need low point structure. That makes it easier for us.
Yeah, exactly. But remember all the scribbling on notes up at NCM? Because there was a chance, I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was Premium Dudes. If they had passed so-and-so, that would put another car into the as the championship winner. It got really crazy there at the end.
Yeah, I had a great time with the guys with Premium Dudes. Picked up a Champ Car win out there at Brainerd International Raceway. The guys were super kind to me, let me keep the trophy.
I think, well, he's already got several trophies, so it's good that you got one.
Yeah.
Now, you're still on your victory tour, aren't you, I believe?
Yeah, I don't think it's ever going to end. I was pretty excited about getting that trophy. I remember we sat down for breakfast Sunday morning, and the driver order hadn't been determined yet, and so I just said to the guys, I said, I'd like to go in last. And Nathan says, why do you want to go in last? I said, purely selfish reasons. I like taking the checkered flag. We got a chance to win this race, and I love pulling into Park for May. It's purely selfish reasons. No strategy here whatsoever. He said, no problem. You got it. So
well, you didn't give up the lead, too, so their confidence in you was well-founded.
It was great. I had a lot of fun. Of course, a win's always going to be fun.
Well,
so.
You were getting chased pretty hard, too, if I recall.
Yeah, we were getting chased real good. The young lady that was behind us in a Miata, I don't know how she was doing it, but she was just amazing with that Miata 1.6 liter on the Donnybrook that they didn't have quite enough car to overtake us, but they were right there. If we would have made a big mistake, they would have been very difficult to deal with. But yeah, turns out she held the track record out there in that Miata for her class for a short time. So that was their home track. They showed up ready to go to battle and ready to win that race, but we had a little bit more for them. It was challenging for sure. I think only one of us had ever raced on that track before, so we had to get up to speed quickly. And so to come away with a win was very special.
Of course, it's taking a backseat to your Commentator's Cup trophy, right? Because, think about it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We never did get that done at NCM, by the way.
I know. I think
Bill was dragging his feet on it.
I know I wasn't looking forward to getting into a hot go-kart and racing around. I was shot. But you were busy loading the trailer.
Yeah.
You almost missed dinner. You were still trying to get things set up or put away or whatever.
Yeah, you'd think, in defense of my guys, only one guy had ever, Jason Smith is the only guy that was on our team before, so he's the only other one that had a clue how the trailer got loaded. So I'm constantly reminding my trailer, I put notes everywhere, kind of like the house that Alon and E-Racing stayed at in California. Evidently, there were Post-it notes all over the house. This is, looky there.
So there we got it. No, but Go ahead with your story, Doc.
No, so I was just saying, you know, I had to be there to help them load the trailer. It's the least I could do considering we were sitting in air-conditioned comfort, you know. So while they're out there racing, but everybody was very helpful. We got it loaded up in a reasonable amount of time. But yeah, the pictures Alon posted from I think it was Laguna Seca 2 years ago were hysterical. It was the house they found on AirNiv or something on B&B or BBVO or whatever had like post-it notes everywhere in the house. So they're like, you know, pointing at the alarm clock. This is an alarm clock. You know, you set it like, oh my God. You know, and it was all these instructional ones, not just like, you know, clock. You know, the big hand is the minutes. You know, it was pretty funny.
Andrew says you must have like 100 different driver bands in your trailer.
Oh yeah, we're adding them all the time. Up on the ceiling, we don't have an insulated ceiling, so it's just the ribs of the trailer, and we stick our armbands through them. Just, you know, you see, I'm from New Orleans. You hang beads everywhere. Well, we have driver wristbands everywhere.
Yeah, one of our viewers over there on our YouTube channel says, "Hey, you're running the wrong direction."
All right.
And then we found out that Nelson Ledges has a reverse. You can run reverse course out there, which would really be bizarre. But I don't think we're going to do that. But I think we are
running them in one direction.
Yeah, it's hard enough just
my luck.
So the schedule's already being put together for 2019, folks, and you can head out to our website, ChampCar.live, and check that out. I think the only thing that's posted so far is the Road Atlanta race.
Yeah, Road Atlanta. We'll get
February.
the rest posted up. But remember, right now, this is a busy time of year. We got another 24-hour race in 2 weeks at VIR. A lot of other stuff going on. We've got, in fact, you got a couple of days. We're looking for people to be members of our advisory technical committee. So we've got probably 10 or 12 emails so far. Just email to board, B-O-A-R-D, not B-O-R-E-D, B-O-A-R-D at ChampCar.org. That way everybody gets a copy of it. I kind of star them, look them over. And I guess we'll get together probably in the next week or so after everybody maybe catches their breath and go over that and announce who we've selected. We're looking for people with diverse backgrounds, been in the automotive industry or been racing for a long time. We want people that we have a variety of cars that race in the series. We can't cover them all, but I think with who we select, we'll get about 80% of the cars that race with us covered. So we're looking forward to that. We got the VPI list to deal with because we want to announce those so people can make their plans for 2019. The schedule, like I said, we'll be announcing more races in the near future. I think we've got 18 dates confirmed. I don't think all the contracts are in for signatures yet. And then some of the tracks want us to wait a little bit. Perhaps, they want to announce it first, that sort of thing. So, but it'll be up very shortly. The majority, certainly the first half of the year. So I know we're going to a lot of the tracks that you all know, love. But
yes.
We've got some surprising announcements, too, that should be a lot of fun.
Looking forward to that. And Andy bringing up a D-class car up in P4. I think you mean P6. We got a EC class car in the City Garage being shown in P4 right now. So technically P5 for PMF Racing.
So Pete says, morning fellas, crown and cookies for breakfast. I think Pete's on a fishing trip. He's been posting up some pictures of some nice catches.
I don't know what crown and cookies means. What's crown and cookies?
I'm assuming that's Crown Royal.
Oh, okay.
I'm just guessing, especially knowing Pete. Pete's got that beautiful little Honda, the Mean Green Racing one that last race with him, I think, at Charlotte, Pete? Anyway, it's blazing fast. He had some problems there that they're ironing out. Of course, you can kind of expect some problems with new builds, but that car is wicked fast and awfully good looking.
So far, Shots Fired Racing down in P7, given the point by. There's our leader coming by in the Toyota Supra. Shots Fired his fastest lap time at 1:57.8. The Supra running about 6 seconds a lap faster, if you can believe it.
Well, I think the first time I really paid attention to the SC300s was Birmingham 2's car at Barber last year. I was surprised at it seems to me, like, especially compared to like Troy's Biohazard MR2, the SC300 seems like a big old boat of a car. But I'm telling you, those brakes and the handling are great on those things.
Yeah, and that's so much of that makes such a difference in lap times. If you've got great brakes and handling, even if you don't have blazing power, boy, if you can quicken up the corners, it easily makes up for that.
Yeah, and looking at MSR Houston, I've never been to the track, don't know that much about it, but I'm surprised that the Mazdas are stuck down there. I show them in 8th, 9th, 10th. Yeah, 8th, 9th, and 10th. I'm surprised they're not doing a little bit better on this track. It seems to me it would favor the Miata.
And driver trying to stay with that Supra. As the Supra came by.
Yeah, that'll get you into trouble sometimes.
Yeah, you can see he's struggling a little bit. As the Supra came by him, though, he turned his fastest lap time. I think he began to see how soft he was coming out of that last corner and realized he could turn up the wick a little bit. But yeah, that'll get you into trouble. I think that was the first time I ever took a car off the racetrack. I was passed by somebody, like, okay, I'll just follow him.
I'll just stick with him, yeah.
No, it doesn't work that way.
No. In fact, when we started our team, I had a couple of guys, they like fast cars, that sort of thing, but they had never done wheel-to-wheel, and they had never been to some of these racetracks. Like, I had been to Daytona probably 10 times before I ever raced there. So I knew the track well, and I was saying, like, okay, here's the things you can do. Watch videos on YouTube, learn the track and that sort of thing. And they were like, well, no, I'll just find a car similar to ours and just keep up with him and learn the track that way. And it's like, well, be careful who you pick, Number one, some of these cars might be swap cars, so they're a lot faster than us. Trying to keep up with them is only going to get you into trouble. And also remember, if he makes a mistake, you're going to make the same mistake.
It is fun to see. You see it every once in a while in other racing where two cars will make the same mistake and they'll both slide out in exactly. It's like a synchronized wipeout.
Yeah, exactly. And I started out motorcycle racing, and that's the hardest thing to learn not to do, because here in a car you can't see the other driver, but on a motorcycle you see him leaning, you see him setting up for corners. And if you try and emulate him at the same time, it's going to be disaster. So you really can't watch the other driver in motorcycle racing. You can't, because it is going to be a disaster. At least in a car, you've only got the car to look at. You can't see the actual driver working the wheels. So it's a little bit easier. But I found it the hardest thing in motorcycle racing to do is not emulate the guy in front of you. Now, in car racing, I'll try and stay with you if you're a faster car, I'll try and stay with you for a few corners just to learn what you're doing right and I'm doing wrong. The other thing I do, and I've been on the iRacing lately, is I'll start a couple of laps, but then I'll park my car and then use the camera system to go follow Wyatt around the course and see what he's doing that I'm not doing. And you can learn a lot that way with the only risk, no risk at all, since you're not in the car, you're just riding along with them. So you're not even hurting pixels at that point.
So you're just you're watching the live stream coming out of your car, watching how somebody else drives your car. Is that right?
No, I was talking about iRacing. You could use the camera phone
in iRacing.
to jump
Okay.
into another car.
All right, I'm easily distracted.
No, so
I was watching this guy pass that BMW, and I was thinking back to I still remember the first time I took a car off the racetrack was, as I told you, was due to following somebody. I was driving in essentially a spec series in an open wheel car. It's called Formula V. And so I'm thinking, well, Formula V is a Formula V. They're pretty similar. I mean, there's slightly different models, but it's essentially the same car. So I should have no problems following this guy through turn 1 at Mid-Ohio. But I did have a problem because the car just slid right off the racetrack.
Right.
Like, oh, okay, so that doesn't really work, and it's terrifying, so I'm not going to do that again.
I'm not going to do that, yeah. Make mental note. Well, our first race was Sebring in, 2014 or so, and it was a wet track, go figure, early in the morning, and so I'm out in this brand new car, and evidently braking for turn 2, I didn't quite get my heel toe down correctly, and the car, the second I hit the downshift, the back end kicked out. So here I go sliding in all that sandy loam down there for a good ways, carrying a fair amount of speed, and all I could think of is the new car flipping, digging in and just doing a barrel roll. It was terrifying as well.
Yeah, that would be absolutely awful. So here's the current configuration that we're running. It's the clockwise config. And one of the guys over here on our YouTube feed said, "Hey, you're going the wrong way."
Well, that's mostly the case all my life. I'm sure my father told me that several times. My mother was too polite, she just shake her head.
Yeah, so Racer Fink over here on our YouTube feed. By the way, you can check out our broadcast in 1080 on our YouTube feed. Tell us a little bit more about the racetrack, since you've got some experience racing out here. Yeah, give us a little bit of insight we can pass along to the other people that are watching this race, might be interested in coming out to the track. Just casually watching it, looks like a very fast racetrack. Looks like it might favor some of the more higher power cars. Doc was noticing the Miatas not faring as well as predicted. So, yeah, give us your thoughts on the racetrack and the cars that seem to do well out here, and what your feel is of racing out here. And why in the world aren't you racing with us?
Yeah. Wait. Hold on here a second. No, it's just a cotton picking home.
Well, no, I'm glad you're watching on the broadcast. You can give us some insight. Doc and I aren't really familiar with the track, so.
Well, Doc doesn't know anything anyway, so.
Oh, you are a wellspring of information, sir.
Yeah, sure. A lot of useless trivia. A Lies, land of delusions, and half-truths.
The sun may shine and the moon may glitter. So, what do we got? I've only driven it in the other direction, but I'll be at VIR in a few weeks. Oh, okay. So you're coming out for the 24. Cool. Got a little crossed up there.
I'm not on YouTube. Who are we talking to?
Well, I don't know. His handle is Racer Fink. So, yes, you can feel free to identify yourself. I'd like to catch up with you with who you're going to be racing with. And
I'll actually be at VIR, Paulie.
Doc's going to be there, yeah, along with Phil for that. And Tiffany's going to be there. Everybody but me.
I know. What's up with that?
Yeah.
I mean, you're the glue that holds us all together. Or the person that we blame the most. Take your pick.
Well, that's the nice thing. I'm not within striking distance. And the internet's a lot better here. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, I remember that last year at VIR when we lost power. That was exciting.
Okay, so it's Brian Beasley who's talking to us in the EC Corvette.
Okay.
That rings the bell. What's the setup for the number 141?
We don't know, Alex.
We really don't know much about this car. We just know that it's the information we have on the screen, the 323i. And it looks like a really rough track. There's a lot of undulation in some of the corners to upset the car coming onto the front straightaway and leaving the front straightaway.
I think Shots Fired is on. Their team is on Facebook, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
I'll try and slide over there and maybe ask them what they're using to do their setup there, Alex. It's a great feed.
Yeah, it is.
And to me, it looks a little bit better than a cell phone. So maybe, maybe he has the Cerevo setup.
Cerevo,
like I do. Yeah,
could be. It looks like better than anything we got. So it's probably. It looks like the Cerevo quality that you have in your car.
Yeah, we put ours on Alex's Mustang at Road Atlanta a couple of weeks ago. I had a little bit of problem getting it to latch on. And of course, he was in the WRL. They don't have any restrictions on their pit stops, so I couldn't duck my head in there and fool around with it like you have the luxury of in Champ Car with a 5-minute mandatory stop when you take fuel. So, but we got it working mostly. So he had a team of New Zealand drivers that had come halfway around the world to run one of his cars. And so he used the Cerevo to broadcast to YouTube so they could watch it down in New Zealand. So a lot of fun.
Yeah, I sent a message over to Shots Fired about asking them about their camera feed.
Okay.
But
I'm afraid to touch anything because it's all working right now.
Really, I totally, I totally get that. So yeah, Brian, he's renting a seat with the vet. Usually runs with the KSR team in their 300ZX. Ran at Sebring and Daytona. Right, Alex. Yeah. No, we picked up. You were looking for video, trying to figure out how they got the video working so well.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's a GoPro or similar with an HDMI output.
Yeah, I don't even think I really cropped this much when I did the setup on it. It's pretty much native as you see it. The quality's pretty good.
Yeah, the only thing I do differently than I think what they're doing is I set my GoPro to do the spot metering so it sees outside the car a little bit better. This seems a little washed out.
Now we know the sun is low in the sky too.
Yeah, true enough.
Maybe once he's driving into the sun there, maybe once the sun gets up a little bit, it'll work a little better. There's that back end slipping a little bit.
He's got his hands full there.
Really pivoting the car through this part of the racetrack. round what I believe may be the keyhole up into 12 here. Now through 13, launch.
How many
It should
turns
take-
does this course have, Paulie?
17.
Wow, if I'm lost
Officially.
now, think of how lost I'm going to be at Utah, which has approximately 1,000 turns.
This is 15. We'll pivot there now into 16 and 17. That takes him back onto the front straightaway.
Okay. It's like a nice setup for the pits over there on the right.
Yeah.
Well, it is advertised as a motorsports resort?
Yeah. Yeah, it's similar to the Utah track where it was originally set up as a resort. They got the typical corporate. It's corporate focused. And
Well, I mean, Robin Bank was saying that the Utah track, he said the facilities rivaled that of COTA. And he said the same thing.
well, it was built back in 2006. Originally, it was built as it was just a basketball team owner that built it for himself, just to have some fun with. And
Yeah,
it was expanded.
I build racetracks around just to have fun.
Hey, if you have that much money, why
Sure.
not have some fun with it?
Can't
So
take it with you, right?
eventually, it was he sold that. He sold it. Another company bought it. It has $85 million of investment in it. 3 courses. There's a lot of motorcycle racing that takes place out here, and NASCAR is out here every year with something called NASCAR West. I guess there's like a Western division of NASCAR. I don't follow NASCAR.
Yeah, it's a Western. It's I think it's K&N sponsors that.
It's a
series.
K&N thing, yeah.
Yep.
So I guess it's a different series.
Yeah,
than-
it's NASCAR West. It's basically the Xfinity cars have their own series out west. So
right. So they're that's their deal. They've got NASCAR out there running on the larger outside diameter. I wouldn't say larger. But it's the outside diameter of the track, so they're not running through the infield section, which is a lot more twists and turns. So they've got several different configurations. It's essentially 2 small road courses fitted together, and we're running the full 4.5-mile road course, which is the longest road course on the calendar, even longer than Road America, which is just over 4 miles in length. We can expect 3-minute lap times out there. The second longest road course in North America, second only to Thunderhill Raceway Park.
really, I didn't realize Thunder Hill was all that long.
They added an extension in 2014, giving themselves a 5-mile road course.
Well, I know the straightaway is pretty long, but it's exceeded by Brainerd's straightaway.
Yeah, Brainerd. Well, Brainerd, my dad always said, if you ever want to find out how fast your car will go, just go to Brainerd.
Right.
And if you run the Donnybrook course, you're going to find out. Which is, of course, a drag strip up front, which curves gently to the right. And my dad challenged me to take turn 1 flat out. No, we didn't do it. But it was close. It probably can be done in the Premium Dudes car. None of us did it, but we got real close. It requires pinpoint accuracy and confidence that you're going to have enough track at the exit. Really, really cranking this car through the corners here at MSR. But yeah, the Utah track originally conceived as a novelty track for Larry Miller, owner of the NBA Utah Jazz, and various automotive dealerships in the area to use as a personal playground. The original construction, $5 million. And due to the enormous local motorcycle and auto industry support, the concept gradually grew to an $85 million plus project.
Things get out of hand quickly, don't they?
Things do tend to get out of hand in auto racing, don't they? I mean, what can be said?
Well, the old adage, you know how to make a small fortune in auto racing is start with a big one.
How to Be a Millionaire, start with 2.
Yep.
The track was designed by world-renowned track designer Alan Wilson. The kart track, which is a separate track, was opened in September 2005, and the large track was opened to the public April Fool's Day, April 1st, 2006, for the first motorcycle track day. And they do too run counterclockwise and clockwise. This year we're running anti-clockwise on the full course.
Is it going to be reversed tomorrow?
Oh, I don't know.
We've done that in the past sometimes.
But it's pretty cool. If you're, you'll have to catch up with us for that broadcast too. You can see the mountains off in the distance as they're racing. The track is sort of there's mountains on either mountain range on either side of the racetrack. So it's cool. One of the mountains is on fire. If you look carefully enough, you'll see there's some smoke rising from the top of one of the mountain peaks.
I'm going to take a quick break, Paulie.
All right, my friend.
I have to go get rid of some of this coffee.
All right. Well, stay with us, everybody. We'll be right back. So, taking a look at Race Hero, you can see our overall leader right now, 9-4 Motorsports in their Toyota Supra in P2. Their sister car in the Lexus Coupe. Then it's Snakebite Racing, City Garage Racing in P4, and PMF Racing in P5. We've been on board with the Shots Fired Racing team, watching them out here at this racetrack located in near Houston. It's Angleton, Texas, actually. 17 corners, 2.38 miles in distance, so a little over 2.25 miles if my math is any good, which it never is. We just got the one track camera out there this weekend. This is from inside Son of Andre at the Houston track this weekend, which will be going live out there probably about 30 minutes before the start of that race, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 9:30 local time. That's Mountain Time out there in Utah. Champ Car Endurance Series is sponsored by RVA Graphics and Wraps. We have a host of other sponsors as well. If you'd like to find out more information about sponsoring the Champ Car Endurance Series, you can go to our website at ChampCar.org. You can send an email, always send an email with any questions you may have about Champ Car to info@ChampCar.com. We'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. Get you pointed in the right direction if we need to get you to a specific person. We do field some questions on our Facebook page, but frankly, it's better to just send us an email so that we can make sure we get the information to the right people and the conversation going between the two best parties. So coming up next, we're going to be at Virginia International Raceway. That is next on our schedule. VIR, that's August 11th and 12th for our third and final 24-hour race this year. And then it's on to the Cookie Cutter Classic at Gingerman Raceway, August 25th and 26th. That's an 8 and a 7 in South Haven, Michigan. Beautiful area up there. A favorite racetrack of a lot of Champ Car teams. Love to go up there. There's always room available for more teams to come out and join us. It's a very safe racetrack, so it's a great place to start road racing. That's the Gingerman Raceway Cookie Cutter Classic, August 25th and 26th, about a month from now. Back on board with Shots Fired Racing. We also have a new widget, as we call it in IT, the gray box at the bottom of your screen, which is a connection to our Facebook chat feed. And whenever I leave the chat, it clears it and resets it. But as you comment on our Facebook feed, it will show up in that box, which is kind of a fun way to help us stay connected to you. We try to monitor it ourselves with phones and computers and everything to keep track of the chats that are coming in, but this is another way we can bring it right into the broadcast. So this track, located in Ingleton, Texas, can be run clockwise and anti-clockwise. We're running the anti-clockwise direction today, which is what we're doing in Utah as well, if I get this straight. Correct me if I'm wrong, what direction we're going here. I think I got that right. We're running anti-clockwise in Utah as well this weekend. Here's a look at the Utah map we were talking about earlier. There you see 23 corners, 28 apexes. If you guys didn't see it, and I think most everybody saw it, I know last time I checked it had 1,600 views of the video that I published with the just a drive around the track out there in Utah. It's a busy racetrack. For 24 hours of racing, looks like the guys are going to be they're going to be tired when they get out of the car. They're going to get their money's worth, that's for sure. That race again starts at noon Eastern Time, 10 o'clock Mountain Time. Tiffany's going to be with us, along with Doc, myself, and Bill will be chiming in here and there. He's going to be a busy beaver, so I don't know how much of Bill we're going to see this weekend, but he's got his car at the racetrack. And I talked to him a little bit earlier yesterday, and he explained they weren't sure it was hitting on all 6 cylinders, so they were going to have to look at that. So they may be looking at that car this morning. Here's a look from inside his car right now. Doesn't look like you can't really tell if they're doing anything, but it looks like the rear view mirror is clear, so I don't think the deck lid is up. We've got
sure Bill is up, much less the deck lid, right?
Yeah, he's he is up actually. He's set up some of these cameras already.
I'm just kidding.
Now you see teams getting ready to set up their pits now. We just love the kid, that guy. 9-4 Motorsports still up front in their Toyota. Now up about 7.5 seconds over their sister car, so they are in command of this race, P1 and 2.
Yeah, I kind of picked them to sweep this weekend.
And they are supported this weekend by Low Tide Motorsports, a company that will be doing some sponsorship for us this weekend.
Yeah, our pit report.
For VIR they will be anyway.
I didn't realize they were based in Savannah. I was chatting with them the other day because I'd really like to run the Hutchinson Island Motorsports course. But, I guess that's not going to happen. The pit lane is on the inside of the course, much like Roebling Road down near Savannah. So, and with our format, there's not really a good way to get teams in and out of the pits, go get fuel, that sort of thing. So, and it's a fun course. It's kind of like a street course. We usually get out there at night in our rental cars and run a couple of laps.
Well, and in this age, looks like, oh, I got a message back from Shots Fired about the camera that they're using. So they're using the YI 4K with an LTE hotspot. That's
What's
the camera I'm
YI
thinking about going
4K?
to. Well, it's like a GoPro knockoff.
Okay.
You can pick them up off of Amazon.com. They're about 100 and what was it? I think it's either $130 or $160. So it looks like a GoPro, but it does all of the encoding inside the camera. So it has the encoder, so you don't have to use a phone with it, unlike the GoPros and so forth. So all you need is a hotspot.
Wait, you don't need a Cerevo then?
No, it does. It does
Wow.
the encoding on the camera.
Wow.
So I think now maybe it's more like $168, but you can be careful you don't get it just. There's two versions. There's a Pro version,
Right.
and then there's a step down from that. But when you buy it, just make sure you get it with the enclosure, the little GoPro style box, so you can mount it to your roll cage. So yeah, it's an IY 4K. So this, one of the guys that races in one of the other series was talking about this camera and bought one. He's been working with it. I've been looking at it. Bill bought one or two of them and hasn't been able to get them working. But I kind of like it.
Yeah.
It's nice that you can, because you get around the Cerevo, you get around the cost factor of the Cerevo.
Right.
And this is the first time that I've seen it in use,
Looks
where it was
pretty
really
good.
working good. Yeah. The few times that Scott's used it, the bandwidth wasn't very good, so it was choppy. But
Right.
this is really on point.
Well,
And
I mean,
being
there's
that
so
we're
many options out there, and of course they're
there are.
upgraded. So
There are, and the cost of the products are continuing to fall, like the YI. And by the way, I was just reading this weekend, the IY product, the support, everybody just raves about how good the support is.
Huh.
So if you're concerned about it being, some company out of Hong Kong or something, the support is quite good.
Interesting to know.
As is the support for XSplit, which is the broadcasting software that we use, which is out of Hong Kong. Those guys are fantastic out there. They help me out a lot. So, yeah. The YI 4K with an LTE hotspot is what we're watching right now. So probably using Verizon. One of the, like a jetpack type of hotspot. And obviously, he's got very good signal because we're getting like no dropped frames. It's very good.
And you're right, the quality is getting better as the sun gets higher up in the sky.
Behind one of the other competitors here, using all the racetrack, pedaling it just a little bit. So yeah, Eric, I see you're watching now. Hope you heard all that. I tried to reiterate myself a couple times there. We did get feedback on the camera that they're using. MSRH is the home track of a team I run with in another endurance series. We run a 350Z with an automatic transmission. Cool.
There's a couple of teams that are making automatic transmissions work for them. The first one that comes to mind is Team Infinity with that
Yep.
A30.
good example because there's a team that's up front a lot.
Yeah.
So it's obviously working for them. And I know this weekend we have a Crown Victoria that's going to be racing with us.
Oh, that's awesome.
At Utah. So I never really thought much of the Crown Vics. Of course, it's if you're not familiar with the Crown Vic, it's a cop car. Yeah, if you're not familiar with the Crown Vic, you haven't been outside because they're everywhere. They've been everywhere for years. So, but yeah, we have them all. We have them all over the place here. They've kind of faded out because as cop cars now, they've gone to the Impala, which is obviously a little bit better in the snow around here. You need that. But yeah, we got a Crown Vic in the entered in the race for this weekend at the Utah race, which will go live around 11:30 Eastern to start covering that event. And let's see, it was something Grandpa. Oh, Grandpa Bill. It's a 2000 Crown Vic, number 237.
I'm sorry, there's something about big old boats racing that I just love.
It is fun.
One of the cars I miss terribly is the lead sled racing. That car was just such a blast at Daytona. You could hear him off your rear quarter like a half a lap down. And then he'd just come blowing past you on the bank. Same with the USS Enterprise, that big old Ford LTD. I miss those cars. I haven't heard from Tom Cellini lately. He's the owner of the USS Enterprise, that number 65 Ford LTD painted in battleship gray.
PMF Racing down the running order now in that D-Class 68 vintage Mustang down in P11. Egg Boy Racing, a car that started off up front, now down in P13, but they're out there turning laps as City Garage Racing goes by the start-finish line.
Oh, I see Kentucky Fried Racing is starting to turn some laps too. I believe they missed the start of the race as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they just turned in a 154, a very good lap time. So hopefully they can start turning some laps and have some fun out there with the other guys. But I don't see anybody working on Bill's car, so I guess they're going to run it as it is. Maybe they got it taken care of. He said they were going to maybe check on the coils to make sure all the coils were working properly.
Yeah, he's got coil packs, right?
Yeah, he must have.
Yeah, because he lost one at Charlotte 2 years ago. It cost him the race, most likely. I think Bad Brains ended up taking that win, overhauling him just with not very much time left to go. Bill and them were nursing his MR2 home.
So we're out here at MSR Houston. If you're just joining us, we're going to cover some of this race. We're going to keep an eye on it throughout the day today as we break away. Around 11 o'clock, we'll transition over to the Houston race, or excuse me, the Utah race. Around 11:30, we'll go live out there. We'll keep an eye on the MSR race as well. Right now, it's all 9-4 Motorsports early in the day here. 41 laps complete. Fastest lap time of the day turned so far by the leader with a 151.7, which is about 2 seconds up on their sister car currently in P2. They're about a minute 15 seconds ahead of P2 right now. As we go down the front straightaway there, you can see the easy ups just off to the right in the pits there. as he peels off through this dog leg through turn 3 into 4. Wait a minute, excuse me. He's on the, this is through the carousel. He went through turn 1, through 2, heading onto the, what's called the front straight now. Which is a little confusing for me. I don't know if I can handle it. Showing Snakebite Racing and Ginger Racing Team not circulating now. They may have pitted, according to Race Hero. It's been all green racing since the start of the race. So 2.38 miles in distance, 17 corners, 3 good straightaways out here. This would be a great sob track. There's a car off to the left there, driver's left. Here's a look at that racetrack. There you can see the pit straight up at the top, whereas the front straight is in the lower section there. And there's a look at the top 13. I think we had, what, 17 cars that started the race?
I'm showing 16.
Okay. So there's the field. Back onto the pit straight here with shots fired. So next we'll be at the 24 hours of VIR looking ahead, and then it's on to Gingerman Raceway. Now Gingerman is one of those $650 races if memory serves, and there are still spots open there, so come on out and join us. We'd love to have you. Bring a cool suit as the 68 Mustang goes by. But it's I believe an 8 and a 7 that we run out there at Gingerman. It's always a fun time. It's a fun racetrack, one of the safest racetracks on the calendar. It's a great place to get started. We're hosting, I'm going to be out there with the Green Dragon, and we've got a couple guys coming that are new. I think one of them's new to the racetrack, his brother, who's never raced before. And he'll go through the customary driver school Friday night. We'll have a practice day on Friday there as well. So it'll be the perfect place for him to get started racing with us. And the cars have come almost to a complete stop up here.
Yeah, it came to such a stop, I thought they were entering in the pits.
I think there's an emergency vehicle there trying to tow a disabled car, and they were going through what might have been the bus stop, and it corked everything up there.
Well, you got to give those EVs room.
Yep. They say so many times, instructors will tell you to keep your eyes up. And that's one of those reasons it's good to have that habit, to always be looking down track so that you don't come up on a situation unprepared. You can't get your car slowed quickly enough to deal with it. So yeah, Matt over on our YouTube channel mentioning likes the camera setup on the car. Again, that's I just sent the team a message through their YouTube channel, and they responded back. It's a YI4K camera with an LTE hotspot. If you go to Amazon.com, you can do a search for that camera, the YI4K. I think they call it the Pro, YI4K Pro something or other. And it's under $200. It does all the encoding on the camera. You do have to set it up with a phone. Almost loses it there, but stays in the power. I like it. The suspension's pretty sloppy in the old BMW, trying to work around these very tight corners. You do the best you can with what you've got, and that looks like what he's doing. Got a nice predictive lap timer there in the car with him, which I'm thinking about buying one of those for our car. I was talking to premium dudes who had a similar setup. They use a 10 megahertz booster, GPS booster, along with a simple app on a tablet or a phone.
What,
and
like
that gives
Harry's
you
lap time or something like that?
Yeah, it's not Harry's, it's a different product, but similar. And you get your predictive lap timing and your actual lap times as well. I'm not sure how accurate it is, as far as it's not getting anything off of the loop. It's picking its own spot for where it's going to trip the lap time. But
right. Well,
pretty close.
Yeah, you have to load the track into it, so it's all very complicated. I can't figure it out.
You're welcome, Matt.
I'm an analog guy trapped in a digital world.
Well, and that's kind of part of the issue that Robin Bank runs into. He says, look, but you get so distracted messing with that stuff instead of focusing on the race. He just doesn't want to deal with it.
Right.
And I think a lot of guys fall into that category, you know. It's fun to noodle around with things when you're an IT guy like me, and then sometimes it's like, I just don't want to be bothered with it. You know, right. I just want to focus on the race. And
well, that's just it. I mean, it happened to us at AMP last year. You know, it was miserable conditions on Sunday and this, that, and the other, and we totally missed checking tire pressures, you know, and it cost us. I mean, we had a guy hit a rail, damaged the car simply because we got distracted, messing with other things that we shouldn't even been bothering with.
So I guess it goes to say that just make sure that if you are going to use it, that you're well prepared with it. You're not fiddling with it day of too much.
Right.
Have it sorted day before. Do a practice day. You know, take it to that race so you have time to fool with it, and then day of, it's just you just put it in there and push the go button. You don't have to mess with it.
Right. Well, and you know, I mean, getting back to our own experiences with ChampCar.live, you know, on the Friday tests, everything works perfectly. And then you've got 100 cars firing up systems at Daytona, and everything goes to hell.
Right. So make sure that it always takes a back seat to everything else you're doing.
Yeah, you're out there to race and have fun.
Make that the last concern on your list. Beer's most important. That's first. Gotta have beer. Gotta have beer for the end of the race.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Using all the racetrack.
Good beer like PBR.
There you go. Through the keyhole. Round 12 into 13, it looks like. So, Bill Strong, Andrea, a lot of our crew out in Utah. We're split up a little bit this weekend because we're running 2 races simultaneously 10 o'clock here local time. Just getting started out here in Houston, in the Houston area. 47 laps completed by our leaders. 9-4 Motorsports in P1 and P2 with the Toyota Supra leading the way. Just turned in a 151 to the 153 of the Lexus in P2. Paul Veltum along with Doc Waldrop here joining you this morning. Tiffany and Bill will join us when we go to our Utah broadcast. And we've got several cameras set up out there in Utah ready to go for that race. One of the cars that is racing there this weekend is Visceral Racing Group's Porsche 944.
Yeah, they got a whole new look to that car.
And as the temperatures are high in Angleton, Texas, so they are as well in Tooele, Utah this morning.
Yeah, I haven't checked the weather report from Utah, but that's all high desert. So during the day it gets extremely hot, and at night it can get extremely cold. And there's nothing to stop the wind.
Yeah, there's a lot of sand out in that area. There's Son of Andre in their Mustang with the, looks like the hood may be up, but maybe not. It's just the garage door in the background there. There's Visceral Racing Group's Porsche still with the orange roll cage, but it is, as Doc said, it's painted red, white, and blue now. It's got the American flag livery.
Yeah, the whole front end of the car is a blue field with white stars, and then starting, I think, just behind the driver's door, if I remember correctly, it's all red and white stars, bars. So, pretty cool. And it's modeled after a Le Mans entry that I think was called the Spirit of USA. I saw the pictures, but I'm old, I forget things.
So there was a motive behind the whole thing of, hey, let's make it look like a Le Mans entry. There's your current running order as we're 48 laps in to a 7-hour race today in Angleton, Texas. Back again tomorrow for another 7 hours in Texas. Running two crews this weekend as we race both in Texas and in Utah. Bill has reassembled his car and pulled it out to Utah for the 24-hour race.
Yeah, we had several teams that have made the trip from the East Coast, Visceral being one, Bill Strong and Robin Bank. Robin Banks, he's based in Pennsylvania, I believe. This all the way up in Connecticut, Bill in Virginia.
So it was a long tow for a lot of the guys to get out to Utah.
Did you see some of the videos in Cheyenne, Wyoming yesterday when they were coming through? They had a freak snowstorm / hailstorm.
Right. Yeah, and the NLS is going to be at the VIR 24. That's one of our biggest races of the year. And
it will sell out. There's, I think, 7 spots left. You better sign up now.
NLS, of course, doing really well with that V6 transplant.
Not yet banned racing.
All the heavy hitters will be there.
Oh, yeah. And several teams that only enter practically one race a year. So it's a pretty strong entry field. I know Simon Says is going to be out there.
Well, Doc, this is the race where we hand out the Rolex watches to the winners. So this is a big deal.
I'd like to say they're Rolexes. They aren't Rolexes.
Okay, well I thought they were.
No. They're nice watches, but they aren't $1,000 Rolexes.
Well, we need to do something about that.
Yeah, well, maybe we could buy them off the street in New York, you know, buy a Rolex.
It's not a Rolex, it's a Lolex.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it'd be nice to give out Rolexes, but we're not quite there.
Let me back up in the broadcast and I'll erase that bit.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
I didn't say that.
Yeah. You just gave Mike a heart attack. He's probably checking his Amazon order going, no, I didn't. Did I?
But can I get some used ones?
Yeah. We had, Alex Rockwell's been on with us. He had a driver race with him at Road Atlanta that's won a Rolex twice at Daytona. That was pretty cool.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm watching the wipers come on. I'm thinking one of the cars up ahead is probably dumping fuel or dumping probably fuel. He had his wipers on as he went by the start-finish line, pointed to the car up ahead, probably trying to signal the tower, hey, take a look at this car.
Right.
I had something like that. I've had that happen so many times. I guess we all have. We be following somebody and they're dumping fuel on the track as they go through the corners. But I had that happen at BIR, and it was so bad I couldn't drive the racing line. I couldn't get by him. He was driving the racing line, but I couldn't drive it because he was putting down so much fuel. I was having to drive offline, which really wasn't a problem. They were off the pace. They were behind us enough by lap counts. It didn't matter, but I went over and talked to them after the race. I said, hey, you're dumping a lot of fuel, like lap after lap. I said, yeah, we wondered why we ran out of fuel. So yeah, it's out there on the track, man.
Well, we had that problem at Barber. The hose that leads from the BMW gas tank, the overflow tank is behind the right rear wheel in this little compartment, and sure enough, somebody said, yeah, you're dumping a lot of fuel. It's like, that's because we just stopped. It's like, no, you're dumping a lot of fuel. And sure enough, we discovered it. But later on, I was looking through the pictures, and there's a picture of us going onto the front straight, and I mean it was pretty bad. Let's just put it this way: you couldn't see the green of the grass through the fuel that we were dumping.
So he's coming into the pits after being out there for about an hour and 10 minutes.
Put a timer on him.
Second gear, 2,500. If never even made it to 2,500, he's right on top of his pit box.
Yeah.
Brings it to a stop. Crew hops over the wall. He should hit his kill switch here. He drops his visor back down because its visor's down when you're fueling the car.
Yep.
And he's unbuckling. He's going to pull the steering wheel off and set it up on the instrument cluster there. Probably disconnect his cool suit. And the net is down, so he's going to go ahead and hop out. Yep, he's got his cool suit hoses there in hand, as you can see, and he's just going to get out of the way, get over the wall, and get out of the way.
Yeah, there's two theories of thought here. We have the driver getting out helps the driver getting in get buckled in. That way they can talk, about what the course condition is, that sort of thing. The other idea is you have a fresh guy go over the wall and get the new guy in because he isn't knackered. Let the guy that's been in the car for 2 hours get a break. So it's kind of all depends on your preference.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the latter because I'm usually pretty wiped out when I get out of the car, and I don't want my hands are cramping, and it's just not a good scene for me to try to help somebody when I need help.
Yeah.
I'm kind of helpless sometimes. So, but
yeah, I don't think there is a
like
right
this.
way or wrong way. You know, it's just individual preference. Nelson Canash, yeah, 2 Rolex wins with Flying Lizards, I believe. Yeah, and I think he was racing with us, Alex, with a broken collarbone or a healing collarbone. This is still quicker as Dickens.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. No, and like Alex said, nicest guy in the world.
Getting their driver buckled in. Looks like they're also servicing the cool suit box there. So, yeah, he's actually got a hand pump there. He's probably drawing out some of the warm water.
Oh, that's
so that he can put a cold ice. It looks like he put a frozen gallon bottle jug in there.
That's fancy with the pump thing. We just use an old peanut butter jar with a bunch of holes drilled in the top. Throw it in there.
That'll work.
Get all the excess water out, and then we fill 3 Gatorade bottles, the larger size. So we freeze those, dump some ice in them, or dump some ice over them, and then enough water to cover the pump, plus a little extra. It works great. Lasts easily. Lasts the driver's stint.
Radio check, 141.
Doing their radio check.
I didn't put a clock on them, but with a 5-minute mandatory stop, pit in to pit out, you've got plenty of time.
Radio check 1-2. I see the problem with the antenna.
So they're having a little bit of trouble with the comm system.
Yeah, he said something about the antenna.
Yeah. You got time, but you don't really want to mess around either. You want to get things set to where you're watching the clock. Send your driver down there with about 30 seconds to go.
Yeah, because I like to sit at pit out for like 10 seconds, just to okay, that's all over with, and then you can kind of get your mind right, concentrate on the job at hand.
He's rolling out of the pits here.
You got time to look around the car, make sure you remember where everything is.
The pits is terribly short.
Yeah. Well, we're not using the entire pits either. We've only got
17 spots. So there's not much room there. I think it's better. I like the way Dana spaced us out at BIR.
Right. Mike Morrison's running this program. He's run
actually, but there's not that much room. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I prefer the teams to be bunched up. It's easier to handle for the pit marshals, keep their eye on everybody, make sure they're doing their stops safely and all that. So I think it's better to keep them compressed as much as possible.
I don't pretend even to know what the best with all that stuff is. I'm just a driver.
Well, the biggest thing on these is I've pit marshaled many times, and we have the egg timers that have to get back from pit out back to pit in.
Oh,
and sometimes that can be a long walk.
Right. Why make it any longer than it has to be? Somebody's got to walk it back there.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. That's the kind of stuff I don't know anything. That never even occurred to me because I'm not involved in that. I'm just a driver.
Well,
but that makes complete sense.
Yeah, it was funny. An AMP. I came in. Jimmy says, "You just doing a routine stop?" He was working pit in. I said, "Yeah." He said, so he handed me the. There's this basket that you carry the timers in. He says, "Take this to pit out." I get into our pits and our guys are like, "What the hell is this?" It's like, "Oh, no, just give it the pit out." They're looking at me like I'm crazy.
Which you are,
Well,
but that's beside the point.
Yes, this is about an entirely different matter that they want.
It's a whole different kind of crazy.
Yeah, they're used to the regular crazy that I exhibit on numerous occasions. But this one was a new one on them, yeah.
Out here at MSR Houston, as they call it, Motorsports Resort Houston. This 2.38-mile road course situated in Angleton, Texas, for a double seven this weekend. Champ Car Endurance Series presented by RVA Graphics and Wraps. And we're going to have the Utah Motorsports Campus Race in Tooele, Utah, which will fire up that broadcast around 11:30 Eastern Standard Time, a little over an hour from now, for that 24-hour contest. We'll keep an eye on this race, though, as it continues to unfold. But right now, it's all 9-4 Motorsports up front. We're going to take a quick break, folks, because I've been derelict in my duties to do that. And we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Champ Car Endurance Series is North America's home for real, affordable, competitive road racing. We're talking real racing, real tracks, and real cheap cars. We're talking endurance races that range from 7 hours to 24 hours long. The Champ Car Endurance Series races at famous bucket list tracks, including Daytona, Sebring, Watkins Glen, and Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. To live the dream and race in the Champ Car Endurance Series, go to www.ChampCar.org.
Welcome back, everyone. Paul Veltum along with Doc Waldrop here this weekend. A quick view of the Utah Motorsports Campus pit lane. You can see some of the easy ups going in as we speak, as they get ready to start this race at 10 o'clock Mountain Time. For our 24-hour race there, as we go back to Race Hero. Current standings at MSR Houston. 9-4 Motorsports up front, as the top teams are now beginning to dive into the pits. We were just on board with Shots Fired. It's the only camera that we have running out there this weekend, as they came in and made their pit stop. So it's 9-4 Motorsports in P1 and 2 with the Supra up front. City Garage Racing in P3 in that EC machine. Texas Thunder in P4 and Haas Garage in P5. And Bourbon Racing, all three A-Class cars are A-Class, sponsored by DiscoveryParts.com. PMF Racing in that D-Class machine in P7. And they just turned their fastest lap time of the day for themselves with a good 1:54. There we see them jump up into P4 as they just crossed over the start-finish line, and shakes up the running order a little bit, again, as teams are coming in and beginning their round of pit stops to finish up their first stint. We'll be live 24 hours covering the Rocky Mountain 24 out there at Utah Motorsports Campus, again starting around 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. Continuing through the night, if we can stand it. Most likely we can. We've done it before. Doesn't mean anything, really, but it might happen. Into tomorrow morning, when they checker at 10 o'clock Mountain Time. And that should be a very interesting race. Visceral Racing Group out there. That's my pick for the weekend, but there's a lot of other teams out there that are going to be going for the prize. Arbank Racing is out there this weekend with their Saab 9.3 Turbo, the number 90. Bill Strong is out there this weekend with his Toyota MR2. Son of Andre. There's many, excuse me, not Son of Andre. Yes, Son of Andre is out there. What else we got? Alchemy Racers are out there this weekend. I don't know. Looking at that racetrack, and Willwood Racing's out there this weekend as well. But looking at this racetrack in Utah, I have a feeling that the track's going to favor the Miatas. Now we'll see how that shakes out. It's about a 3,440-foot long front straightaway, which is going to help out some of the power cars. But the big question is that going to be enough to give them a leg up on the cars that work so well through the corners, like the Miatas and the 240SX of Vermont Burt 1 Racing? I don't know. And the Porsche, which the Porsches seem to be one of the better balanced race cars when it comes to power, brakes, and suspension working through tight corners. We know they do really well at tracks like NCM Motorsports Park. Granted, this track doesn't have the undulation of NCM, but NCM isn't quite as tight as this racetrack is. But they may very well prove to be a strong force here this weekend in Utah. But I'll be interested to see how the former Miata PI team does here, Alchemy Motorsport, in their Miata. An experienced team, a team that does very well out west with us. I got a feeling they're going to be up front for sure. We'll keep an eye on them and see how the race unfolds for them this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, a 24-hour race always, I think the advantage is always with well-established teams.
It's such a huge challenge. You're essentially running 3 8-hour races nose to tail. To come out on top of a race like that is such an accomplishment. To finish a race, period, is a big accomplishment.
Right.
So, and these guys, I don't know if they've been with us for a 24-hour race or not, but they've certainly been through a lot of challenging races out west with us, and an experienced team. It's going to go a long way to bring about success for them in Utah.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting race. You got a lot of new teams out there and a lot of veteran teams.
Shots Fired Racing in their BMW 323R. They came in, made their pit stop. They're in P7 right now. Just turned a 159, which is pretty close to the previous driver that was in the car. His fastest lap time at 157, but he's only been out for a few laps. So once he gets into the groove, we'll see what he's able to do with this BMW as the heat continues to build out there in Texas. Fastest lap time of the day so far at 152.4. I'm Paul Veltum, joined by Doc Waldrop this morning.
Hello.
Just out of sheer boredom, we're watching.
Yeah.
We're going to be broadcasting a 24-hour race, but what are we going to do with ourselves before the race starts?
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, well,
wait a minute.
Yeah. Hey, I got an idea.
There's another perfectly good race that we could be watching.
Why not make our day that much more difficult?
what have we got to lose? I mean,
Friggin' idiots.
frankly, what else are we going to do with our time anyway?
Right, exactly. I don't know about you, but there's a perfectly good lake outside my office window.
There is. There is. That would be nice to hang out there. So, yeah, thanks for joining us this morning, everybody. We're as I said earlier, we're going to be watching this race. We'll keep tabs on it, even when we're going to break away for about a half hour or so, and then start up a new broadcast, a fresh feed for our Utah event. That'll give us a chance to kind of set the reset button and get ready for that. We will keep an eye on this race throughout the day, though. So we're not going to completely lose touch with it. So we'll be able to keep track of what's going on and bring you some updates as the day rolls on and as they go into checkered flag tonight.
Yeah, we'll have to think about this tomorrow. MSR Houston will end about, I'm not really good with time zones. End about what, 2 hours after Utah ends? Is that right?
It's about an hour and a half. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because it'll be. Let's see. They started at 7:30, which was 8:30 Eastern time.
Oh Lord!
We're gonna finish at noon Eastern time in Utah, which means we're gonna finish.
MSR is at 3:30 Central
2:30, which is well, it's 2:30 if I remember right on the schedule. So that makes it 1:30 my time, so it is an hour and a half difference for me. So yeah, for you and I think you're right. I think it's just another hour and a half. Hey, when you've been broadcasting for that long, what's another hour and a half between friends?
It's a lot.
Actually, now that you mention it, it is a lot. What am I thinking?
Yeah, I was pretty knackered after Nelson Ledges.
Yeah, you're just the bed is calling to you.
Oh,
you just
man.
want to go to bed.
And it's primo nap time here on the East Coast.
Nobody does what we do. It's insane.
No, we're idiots. Most people are smarter than this. What did I say?
Again,
most people. I meant everybody.
It's like one of our cameras in the tower's offline, but the pit camera's still up and running.
Yeah,
so
Bill's
that's
asking
cool.
somebody out there to go check on that.
Those are they've got track cameras there, local cameras. So I was asking if he could. Those show offline. Yeah, they show offline through that link that you were so kind to send me. So I just said, hey, can we have him check on that? I'm not sure why, but for some reason I can't seem to connect to him.
Well, with a couple of 1,000 turns out there, they don't have a camera on each turn, so I think they're mostly situated on their straights.
Yeah, it'd be nice to link into those. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that.
Well, it's our first visit to this track ever out at Utah, so we're learning the ins and outs of the facility, which I understand from like Robin Bank and Andrea and Bill is an unbelievably beautiful facility. I know you touched on the history of it earlier.
Both of our leaders have hit the pits, apparently.
Well, that's about perfect timing. You want to get that maximum 2-hour stint, even though it's a 7-hour race.
We're at the bottom of the hour, folks. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Be back in 3 minutes. Stay with us. Champ Car Endurance Series is sponsored by RVA Graphics and Wraps, a custom graphics shop that specializes in the design and production of the best quality made-to-order vehicle graphics. And by Lifeline. Lifeline uses the latest technology in motorsport fire suppression and extinguishing and is the leader of in-car fire safety systems using Novec and Triple F foam. And Willwood Disc Brakes. Willwood Engineering is a global leader and manufacturer of high-performance, original equipment disc brake solutions. And Cool Shirt Systems. Cool Shirt's personal cooling systems, vests, and garments
offer comfort, safety, mobility, and durability when performance matters. And Maxxis Tires. Maxxis Tires International is committed to delivering high-performance, affordable tires to the world. And Frozen Rotors. Premium cryogenically treated brake pads and brake rotors by Diversified Cryogenics. And OMP Sport, one of the world's leading manufacturers of safety equipment and tuning accessories. And by Racing Radios, the leader in racing communications worldwide, providing quality and affordable communication systems for racers and fans alike. And DiscoveryParts.com, offering the best in auto safety racing apparel. Discovery Parts is a veteran-owned racing and safety equipment company located inside Atlanta Motorsports Park in Dawsonville, Georgia. We take pride in being a reseller of the best of the industry to Champ Car teams and drivers. We know racing, love racing, and look forward to tomorrow to even more racing. Visit us at DiscoveryParts.com.
The Champ Car Endurance Series is North America's home for real, affordable, competitive road racing. We're talking real racing, real tracks, and real cheap cars. We're talking endurance races that range from 7 hours to 24 hours long. The Champ Car Endurance Series races at famous bucket list tracks, including Daytona, Sebring, Watkins Glen, and Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. To live the dream and race in the Champ Car Endurance Series, go to www.ChampCar.org.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to our broadcast here, Champ Car Live. We are watching the MSR Houston race. 9-4 Motorsports in command of this race so far, with both their sister cars. It's the Toyota Supra up front, also with the fastest lap time of the day, with that 151.7. Currently, it looks like they're in the pits right now with that car. We know they were pitted a little bit earlier and working their way through their scheduled pit stops, no doubt. And they'll get that car back on the track and head back out. We've been following along with the only camera we have at the site, which we're just borrowing. The team here, Shots Fired Racing, has been kind enough to broadcast the race from inside their car, and we're just kind of piggybacking on their broadcast, enjoying a view of the track and giving us kind of a feel of what's going on in the race. So we appreciate you guys for letting us tag along with you. We want to say good morning to everybody out west as they get ready for the Utah race out there in Tooele, Utah, not far from Salt Lake City, as we get ready for our 24-hour race out there this weekend. This race in MSR Houston in Angleton, Texas, will be going on as well today until about 2:30 in the afternoon when they'll checker it. Come back tomorrow and do another 7-hour race on this 2.38-mile road course. There's a look at the racetrack there, running in the anti-clockwise configuration, which is the same we're going to be doing, which we don't have too many counterclockwise racetracks that we run on the calendar. But also in Utah, we'll be running counterclockwise as well. Very busy racetrack there in Utah. Both of these races will be exciting to follow along.
That's our promise to you.
trying out our new Facebook comments. Let's see what they call it here. They call it, yeah, live comments. So it's Facebook Live Comments widget. That's the gray box that you see down below there on the screen. As you comment on our Facebook feed, your comments appear there, which makes it out onto the broadcast. The tower you see off to your left is report that it's a third-party translation of the timing and scoring that's coming from our computer at the racetrack. So it is not official by any means, but it does show the top. It shows the running order, which we found to be mostly accurate, which is more than we could say for ourselves.
Gotcha. So I don't see the Facebook text in the gray box. All I see is the gray box.
Well, you won't see anything until somebody comments.
Oh, somebody say something, for God's sake. What do you think, we do this for our health? It is for our vast viewing audience's pleasure.
That's right. And there you see a picture. In the picture, you see what looks like an orange car.
Oh,
I'm
hello,
standing
Mom.
next to it there. Yeah, hi. That was our one of our victory photos we took in Impound at BIR. Right after we won the race out, one of the races out there, we finished second and first out there. Hi, Rich. Good morning, sir. Rooting for 9-4 Motorsports.
Well,
And,
they are my overall pick to finish first and second out at MSR.
They're looking strong. A well-developed team.
Yeah, they race a lot. They've got the support of Low Tide Motorsports, which helps run their pits, does their pit stops, support. They were actually here a couple of weeks ago out at Road Atlanta. I never got a chance to talk to them. I was a little busy. But they're based out of Savannah, Georgia.
Ah.
Hello, Ray. How are you doing today?
Oh, so Ray's at Houston this morning. Cool.
Yeah, he's doing tech, I'm sure.
Right.
And now working probably either pit in or pit out. Mike Morrison's running the race, I believe. He's the event director. I know Catherine Miller is out there. He's the registrar for a lot of our races. I don't know if Jackie Sides is out there. Jackie runs the pace car often for us.
Yeah, looking at the track map, and we've got I found another video where the just showing us a lap around the racetrack. Another competitor, you could see the track looked pretty quick. They do have one bus stop chicane that they put in to slow down the competitors, but it's a pretty fast racetrack. The shots fired team that we're currently on board with just turned to 158.9.
Looks like he's messing with his display there.
He's having a little trouble getting it to work. So now, I don't know if it's the angle we're on or what the case is, but it looks like it's off. Yeah, I'm not sure it's working for him at all. He keeps looking at it though. This is the place to do it, on the straightaway.
Yeah.
He's trying to get it fired up, but it doesn't look like it's working.
Got a little crossed up, off into the grass. He's turned it around.
Yep. See, and I was just fixing to mention that messing with those damn displays is not worth it. If it's not working, just leave it alone.
Throws you off your game, your concentration just a little bit, and that's all it takes.
Yeah, we had a guy at Nelson Ledges was trying to. I think he was trying to grab his drink bottle neck and lost it simply because he took his eyes off the track for a split second. And that's enough.
It sounded like he had keyed in to talk to his crew just as he was heading into the corner too.
Maybe
and
that's it. Yep.
that would also be enough to throw you off your game. So I'm to the point where I get into a rhythm of I check my gauges at the same spot on the track only once per lap,
Right.
only at that spot. And of course, it's coming onto the front straightaway where you're going slow and there's usually very little risk there.
Right.
But that if you get yourself into a rhythm, I've found just checking it every time right there, and that's the only time you look at it, then you're not going to get caught out like that where you've thrown yourself out of your rhythm and now you're off track.
Vincent, this is the Houston, MSR Houston track. We're going to go live to Utah probably about the 11:30 Eastern time. We lost, yeah, it's up at the top of the screen, MSR Houston. You moved on me, Paulie. I was like, wait, where'd he go? You're just trying to see if I'm paying attention, aren't you?
It's been up there for like an hour.
Yeah,
It's
well,
been up there a
that's
long
not
time.
unusual.
Hey, Jeff, you're going to be racing with us? Cool. VIR? Awesome. Great racetrack. It's always an epic challenge going up there running the 24. Yep, Doc's going to be out there. Tiffany's going to be out there. Bill's going to be out there. So we're going to have a large portion of our workforce is going to be at VIR for that race. That's a big race for us. We'll be broadcasting the race, of course, ChampCar.live. So you can check us out here. You can also check us out on our YouTube channel if you're not watching on our YouTube channel. I know we've got a kind of a split going on right now between the number of people watching, but it's ChampCar.live. You can check us out in 1080, and it's uninterrupted broadcasting glory.
Fame, fortune, glamour, and glory, it's all ours.
It is. Eating the curbs.
So we got a safety vehicle off to the right there, hooking up a car.
The PMF Racing in their D-Class machine. I believe that's the Mustang that's out here this weekend. Currently up to P3 after that round of pit stop changes. '68 Ford Mustang. Wheeling that good old girl around the racetrack. Saw it a little bit earlier. It's painted blue.
We've got some great looking early Mustangs race with us. What's the one that's copper colored? It's a beautiful car. Can't think of that team's name. We got K&H Racing out of Houston. They're running a Gulf liveried Mustang.
Isn't that the Godzilla team that runs the Mustang?
No, Godzilla runs the 300ZX.
Yeah, I can't believe I don't remember that right now. But yeah, they've run with us out in Sebring, and they were with us earlier this year, too.
Shots Fired Racing just turned a 2-minute lap. His time's down a little bit. Might be pushing. Looks like he's pushing a little harder maybe than what he should be. And sometimes when you pull back just a little bit, that's when your lap times really start to come down.
Yeah, it's kind of like you got to go slow to go fast. It's the same kind of, not ironic, but it's, it's kind of a dichotomy, because you're always talking about taking weight out of the car, and it's called adding lightness.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, so many of us focus on trying to improve the car. Don't spend nearly as much time, money, and effort trying to improve ourselves as drivers, and there's something to be said for that. We have a sponsor, CircuitCities.com. Circuit Studies. Remember Circuit City? That goes way back.
Yeah.
They've been out of business a long time. CircuitStudies.com. Johann Schwartz and Mike Skeen, those guys have a great service going on there.
Yeah,
to help you.
Took one of their courses, didn't you, Paulie?
I took 2 of them.
2 of them.
I did one for Daytona, and then I did one for Watkins Glen before I went out there, and had a blast with it. It's a lot of fun. It was very helpful, I think. Kind of get you up to speed and build a little bit of confidence that you know your way around the track from the pros. They really help you set the car up on the racetrack for the right line and tell you what to watch out for. It's for $50. It's a good investment. Again, you think about all the money you spend on the car. You're not spending very much on your own personal improvement, though, so I guess it just depends on how serious you take it. I think I take it more serious than I probably should. A lot of guys don't seem to take it that serious, so that's just me.
You are a rather fierce competitor, I will say that.
I like to be up on top. Maybe I shouldn't be as... I probably should relax a little bit. But that's how I have fun.
Yeah.
I like to be the fastest driver. Had a great time racing with Premium Dudes a couple weeks ago. Just a delight working with those guys. Probably the most enjoyable team I've ever worked with. Just really can't say enough about those guys. It was a genuine pleasure racing with those guys. Not withstanding the fact that we did win one of the races that we were out there that weekend.
That helps a lot.
It always does.
Yeah.
It's always a good race when you win, right? It doesn't matter how awful.
Yeah.
If you take that away,
complete assholes, and you'd still love them.
Suddenly, it's okay, right?
Right. Yeah. Once they start dangling shiny objects in front of your face, their whole attitude changes.
Oh, Corey brought up a good point here, Doc, on our Facebook feed. iRacing is a great tool, and he's improved him a lot since using, and I have to second that. It certainly improved my racing when I started using it years ago.
Well, the thing I like about iRacing, besides virtually all of it, is look, when you get out to Road Atlanta and there's 110 cars on the track with you, iRacing, a lot of what I end up doing, and especially since I'm not that fast anymore, is iRacing teaches you where you can pass when you don't get the racing line. Because trust me, you're not going to get the racing line all that much with that many cars out there. So, but yeah, I mean, speaking of iRacing, come out and join us. We've got a league that runs on Thursday nights. It's a lot of fun. We've got a West Coast and an East Coast league. They start at 6 o'clock local time for the 2 leagues. We've got, let's see, one more. No, our next race is at VIR. What we try and do is we match the actual Champ Car schedule on the tracks that iRacing has. So our next race is going to be VIR on August 2nd. That's this coming Thursday, and that's going to be a 2-hour race. Normally we race for an hour, but we decided, hey, since VIR is a 24-hour, let's make our iRacing session a little bit more of a challenge. So, but there's a whole site up on the Champ Car website about iRacing in our series, the Champ Car Sim series. Next we go to Sebring, then we go to Road America, then the Auto Club Roval out in California, then Barber, Laguna Seca, and then back to Sebring. So it's a lot of fun. We have a couple of practice rounds before the actual race until the schedule gets really crazy towards the end of the year. I mean, when most racing series have dropped off the face of the earth, we've still got 3 events in December. So, again, we've got these practice rounds, and then we have an actual championship round, and that goes to count to who is going to be our actual iRacing champion at the end of the year. And the 2 drivers that get those are going to get a free entry into an actual Champ Car race. So there is a minimum license requirement to take part in the championship rounds, but it's easy to get. Hell, they've almost given me one. So it's got to be easy.
So coming up to the top of the hour here. Go ahead, Doc.
I was just going to say, see, when you come back, the Facebook comments is blank again now.
Yeah, it refreshes.
Okay.
It doesn't stay live connected. So I'm not sure. This is the first time I've used this widget. I'm not sure if there's a way I can hang on to all that or not. I don't know. But
wow, the fact that you get us up at all is amazing to me.
It is. It is amazing. I surprise myself sometimes with my own mistakes.
Well, Corey was saying that he was racing in the league until they imposed the class restrictions. Well, the license is easy to get. Again, I mean, I'm getting ready to finish mine. We kind of imposed it because the championship rounds are kind of important. People are going for a free race entry, and that's in certain cases that's as much as $1,500. So, and I think I'm going to get together with the guys at Huge Jazz, which help us out with that series immensely, and Mike Chiswick at VIR, and we'll figure out some additional prizes for other finishers of the series. And it's likely to be hats, T-shirts, something like that. So,
yeah, that's really cool. So, again, what's that? Where should they go website-wise if they wanted to look into that, Doc?
Well, if you want to look into our series, the Sim series, there's a whole section on the forum on iRacing and what our series is all about. I believe there's also a section on our Facebook page that has the Sim series in it. You can always email me, doc.waldrop@champcar.org. And then on the iRacing, you look under hosted racing, and that's where we're listed. You ask to join our league. We approve you immediately. You don't have to be a Champ Car member to get approved for the league or anything. So,
and he's going to go off track. Here he goes, going for a ride. He tried to pass on the inside, get by that car.
Something tells me that didn't work out.
No, I think he's trying a little too hard.
Yeah, he's got that red mist in his eyes.
Yeah.
Let's see, Corey Brown. I've tried, but always get wrecked. Here's the trick, Corey. You don't really have to compete in those races. I just hang out at the back, log laps. They're short races, 8 laps, I think, something like that, and your rating will go up. So I think I got that tip off of our website with I think Tom Ellison pointed that out. It's like, hey, look, don't go race with these yahoos. Just hang out in the back, have fun, learn the track, and you'll get a good rating from it.
That's a good idea. So catching up with the Miata, one of the other cars, the other back markers. He's trying to get a good run out of this corner to get him before they get to the next corner.
Because the last corner didn't work out so well.
He's going to pedal it a little bit. He's just getting caught up here. He's just going into the sweeper here. Oh, he hits that curbing on the way in. Yeah, go for it, Corey. It's worth a shot.
Yeah, Corey, come on in. Like I said, Tom Ellison talked about it on the forum. He said, look, just hang out in the back. I'm not even sure you have to finish within a certain percentage of the leaders, but just keep your nose clean and your rating goes up, because that's really what they're looking at, is your on-track behavior towards other cars.
So if you're just joining us, we're just watching the beginning of the MSR Houston race, the Champ Car Endurance Series, sponsored by RVA Graphics and Wraps. 94 Motorsports currently in command of P1 and P2 up front in this race. 73 laps turned already on this 2.38 mile road course.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at Corey Brown. So I have a hard time being in the back. I always want to pass people. Well,
what is it with these drivers that always want to pass people?
I don't know. I'm kind of used to being in the back, so it doesn't bother me as much, Corey.
Home sweet home. Here I am.
I just don't. My whole thing is I don't want to screw up somebody else's race, and that's why it had been a long time since I raced on the VIR full course on iRacing. So I got out there. I was overcooking corners and stuff, and it's like, you know what? I'm just going to go park my butt in the pits, and I hopped on board some of the faster guys and watched what they were doing. I also need to work on my pedals here, right? I've got the original G27, and I understand if you change the springs out and the pedals, you get a better feel for what your car's doing, stuff like that. So, but yeah, I literally pulled off in the pits and then used the camera function to cycle the cars.
He's off track again. Uh-oh. He's come to a stop this time. Brought the car to a complete stop, and now he's pulling back out onto the racetrack.
Did you say something about the brakes there?
Potentially. Let's see if we can... Well, it looks like he's going to carry on.
Well, I know it's up to the race. I can't hear anything.
Yeah, all I hear is a lot of background noise. We can't make out what he's saying, but he's obviously talking to his crew about something.
Well, and depending on how the race is being run and how race control looks at it, he's had 3 offs within a relatively short time. A lot of times they'll black flag you, ask you to come in and talk to you. Make sure you're not dehydrated, or, you know, just tell you to calm yourself down, drive within your car.
Yeah, I think just casual observance, and I mean, I'm not in the seat, so I can't, you know, I'm just a commentator, but just from casual observance of what he's doing out there, it appears to me as though he's overdriving the car. He's trying too hard, and he just needs to back it down a little bit,
right.
Calm down. I don't know. I think he kind of got frazzled with the display wasn't working the way he wanted it to.
Right.
And,
so all that stuff starts building up in your head, and that's when you start making more mistakes.
He really needs to find himself a rhythm to where he's doing the same thing lap after lap, and
Right.
he doesn't violate that rhythm. And if he can get into that, get comfortable with a rhythm, then he's going to find his lap times will start to come down. I mean, you want to go faster, but you really just need to sneak up on it. You can't expect yourself to go and tackle it all at one time. You got to be focused and determined to be focused and bring your best to not only every lap but to every corner and just work your way up to it.
And it's hard to do. It's a mental process. I know, when I make a mistake on the track, I tend to beat myself up for a little while. It's like, just get over it. Get back to where you were comfortable and then work back up. And this time, don't try and go over.
Absolutely. You got to, sometimes the person you got to play head games with is yourself.
Yep.
You got to get your head back in the game. And as a young man, I had gotten pushed off track when I had first started racing, and it frazzled me so much, I just pulled in the pits. I said, my dad's like, what are you doing? It's like, I need a minute.
Right.
I need a minute to just calm down.
Right.
And then I'll roll back out there.
There's a car off to the right.
Yeah, car's off to the right. Driver's right there, which he avoided nicely. And sometimes you can tell if a driver's frustrated just by listening to their shifts. He had a nice clean-up shift there.
Looking through my list, that might be the Blue Line Racing Chevy Camaro. That's a blue and white car.
Makes sense. That was nicely handled through there. So important to be gentle with the brakes and the throttle. Roll them in and out. Gentle with the steering wheel. Nothing quick, nothing jerky. All those things can throw off the car as well, throw off the balance and send you off the track. He's got a fast race car. He has to be careful. Doesn't sound like he rev matched that downshift. He just kind of dropped it in. The revs were low enough that it didn't matter. But it looks like he's calmed himself down a little bit now, and he's got a little bit better handle on it. But you're right. 3 offs within a short period of time, they will black flag and bring you in. Just to check on you, maybe calm you down a little bit. So it's good that he hit the mental reset button, if you will, and went back out there and cleaned it up. So it's 11 o'clock, coming up on the start of the Utah race in Tooele, Utah. Just outside of, there's that car. Looks like an emergency vehicle there to pick it up at driver's right. Looks like the driver's meeting is underway there in Utah as we speak. We'll be heading out onto the racetrack in about a half an hour.
No, in about an hour.
Well, no, because the race will be started in an hour.
45 minutes, yeah.
But they're going to roll out about 15 minutes early or so. 10 to 15 minutes early, they'll actually roll out.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So it's about a half an hour. We're getting there. So it looks like Bill just went live on Facebook as well. Probably for the drivers meeting.
Yeah, quit competing with us. What's the matter with that boy? Kick your butt in the ratings.
Shots Fired Racing working on that BMW up ahead. Here's a look at the current running order, folks. We've got 9-4 Motorsports still up front. 78 laps our leader has turned so far. Looks like Andrea did that. 9-4 Motorsports carrying 1 and 2. Then it's City Garage Racing, PMF Racing, Shots Fired in P5, Texas Thunder, Haas Garage in 7th, Pure Black Racing in 8th, Birdman Racing in 9th, and Egg Boy Racing in P10. So we're going to break away from our feed here as we get set up for our race coverage for the Utah race. But we'll keep an eye on the MSR race as it progresses. Again, if you'd like to stay up on what's happening at the MSR race, you can go to racehero.io and watch the timing and scoring from there. And then so we'll rejoin you here in about 20 minutes or so. We'll start up our live feed for the Utah race. So, Doc, thanks for helping out this morning. And we'll see you folks here in just a little bit. So, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you later.